Welcome back. I am Ahmed, the CEO of CodeFlow Studios, LLC. We are legal now, official, United States-based game development studio. A few things have changed. My first video on this channel, a few videos back, I was talking about the fact that I'm going to be using Godot instead of Unity because of Unity's pricing changes. I was using Godot with C# and it felt good for the most part, but the worst part to me was that I hated the 3D development environment. I made a few games in it, it just did not feel very, intuitive. What I did was I had been making a game in Godot. I'm probably not gonna really release it or really talk about it much. Maybe I'll remake it in Unity. I wasn't very satisfied with how it looked or how it felt, honestly. Long story short, I had been making a dialogue system for that game in C# and using YAML.NET and that stuff. And when I saw that Unity did the back down on what they did and they fired the CEO and all of that stuff, honestly, I thought that I should go back to Unity. And the fact that I made it in C# made me able to, just copy it over to Unity, change some classes, some namespaces from Godot's to Unity's, and it was working. And after some time, I started feeling like it could be its own asset. So I started developing it, and honestly, I think I cooked it. As for the game engine that I'm going to be sticking with, I think I'll stick with Unity for 3D, and maybe I'll use Godot for 2D. I don't really make too many 2D games, but I felt Godot's 2D more comfortable to use than Unity's 2D. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how Parlay was born. Parlay features a minimalistic yet comprehensive set of features. You have metadata and localization support with a very intuitive and quick prototyping loop. You have alias support, and you have several node types like the dialogue node, your standard node. You have a choice node and a branch node for inline logic and conditions without you having to write any code for it. It is a multimodal system allowing you to use YAML and graphs for your dialogues. The great thing about the system is switching between YAML and graph is as simple as finding every instance of the word YAML in your script and replacing it with graph. This video will go through the very first example in the docs, so you can get started with Parlay and get familiar with how it works. For more info on what this asset can do, you can go to docs.codeflowstudios.com/parlay/reference/YAML syntax, or for graph nodes, you can go to /graph-nodes. If you're not sure you want to buy it yet, or if you want to evaluate the asset, you can use the demo called Parlay, also found in the description. This is a more limited version of Parlay, of course, but it is going to help you assess how to actually use the asset or if you like it or not. Anything made in Parlay is easily transferable to Parlay, so you can use your dialogues without needing to change much. Alright, so after you get Parlay from the asset store or add Parlay to your assets, you'll go into your project, open your package manager, and add either one from your available assets, like any other asset you own. For Parlay, you will be prompted with this window. I'll go through what these are real quick so you know what each thing is and you know what you need to import. So obviously, examples is just examples. You don't really need that unless you actually want to look at the examples. But what you must include is utilities, right? This is all of the files for the asset. In here, you have Commons UI Toolkit. This folder is just some sample UI Toolkit things, so you can just get started directly, so you don't have to mess with UI too much. This just gives you a ready built UI widget, so you can just get started using Parlay without having to mess too much with that. Here are your graph examples. These are all of the actual dialog files for each example. And this is Mike. Say hello to Mike. He's used in the emotion examples. And these are your YAML examples. For Parlay, you will have something like this when you select it from the package manager. You'll go into samples, and then you have these 4 buttons to import each the sample file, right? We'll go ahead and hit import. When it is done, it will give you this pop-up if you are missing any dependencies. You can see here I am missing the Graph Toolkit dependency. Please note that Graph Toolkit isn't available on any Unity version under 6.2. It is also what Parlay uses for its graph based editing, right? So anything below Unity 6.2 won't be able to have access to graphs. However, you can just directly import and use the asset with the YAML just fine. You can press install and have the asset fetch it and install it for you. Or you can press I'll do it manually and follow these steps over here on the Unity documentation website. I'll go ahead and press install. As you can see, it's done, and now we have the Graph Toolkit right over here. In your Assets folder, create an Input Actions asset. Select it and press Assign as the project-wide input actions. This is what Parlay uses for its input. By default, the next dialog action is left mouse button. Then we go into our scene and create a UI Toolkit UI document object. As you can see here, we need to provide a source asset. So you'll go into Parlay, Examples, Commons, UI Toolkit, and you will drag this into here. And you can see right here, here's the UI widget that I was talking about. Then we go back into our assets and create a resources folder. This is where our dialog files live and where Unity loads its runtime files, right? Your runtime assets, to be more exact. This can be anywhere in your assets folder as long as it's not in an editor folder. So let's say we can just put it in scenes and it'll work just fine. Inside of your resources folder, you'll create an English folder. If I can spell that, English, right? This is used for your English language, and of course, Parlay has localization. I won't be going in depth into that right now. However, you can see in your documentation here, there's a page covering that. Inside of English, we'll create the folder that will hold our dialog file. Let's call it example. Okay. This is just an organization folder, right? If you have a spaceship that has 5 NPCs talking, you can have a folder, call it spaceship, and you would have each dialog file for each NPC in this folder, just to keep things more clean. Then, in your favorite text editor or IDE, we'll go ahead and go into here, and create the actual dialog file. So en is the ISO code for English, and that is what Parlay uses for its dialog file prefixes, just so it's a little easier for you to fuzzy find or regrep or just find your dialog files. Let's call it hello parlay.camel. Okay. Now, if we open this up, we can get started with the actual dialogue. So all you need is the top level node called dialogue. Anything under this node, anything living under it, is your dialogue. This holds, please shut up, Copilot. These hold your actual nodes, right? There are another two top level nodes, metadata and aliases, but we won't be going into those right now. Again, if you want more details on that, check the YAML syntax in the reference in the documentation. Node 1 has a speaker, a text, and a next node, right? Let's say the speaker is Ahmed. Ahmed is saying, welcome to my channel, you beautiful people. And the next node is node 2. Obviously, these nodes can be anything you want, any name you want. So you can name this Bob. You can name the next node Robert, right? Just Robert. You just have to make sure that it is being referenced properly, but I prefer the node index approach, okay? So create the next node. Let's say the speaker is Ahmed again. He has some more stuff to say. Let's say we have a variety of courses, assets, and games, right? And let's say the last node, the speaker is, let's say, Jimmy, right? What does Jimmy have to say? Oh my god, that's awesome. I heard that Parlay is 33% off on the first 2 weeks from launch. Yeah, that's right. 33% off. So in the next node, to end your dialogue, you either set next node to null or you entirely omit it. Both have the same effect. Back in Unity, we'll go ahead and create our C# script now and call it test dialog, for example. We'll go and locate it in our IDE and get started writing the file. So, using codeflowstudios.parlay.core. Which core are we using? We are using the YAML core. I have no idea why you did that. Where did null come from? We'll be using the YAML core. If you're using graph, you'll go ahead and use graph core, right? Then we'll make a public UI toolkit handler and call it UI toolkit handler. And we'll make a reference for our Parlay YAML instance, right? So let's call this Parlay YAML, okay? Now we'll create an async function or method, call it dialog. This is where we'll handle our dialog logic. We'll go ahead and initialize our Parlay YAML instance by using the Parlay YAML constructor. And this constructor right here needs 2 things. It takes 3 things, but the third one is optional. It's for your localization, but we won't go into that right now. It takes a folder name and it takes a file name. So if we go and look at our asset file right here, you can see that the folder name is example and our file name is what's between this suffix and this prefix and this suffix right here, right? So what's after your ISO code and before your extension. So for my specific case here, this would be example hello Parlay, right? Now we can get started with our actual dialog loop. So while parlay YAML dot conversation ended is not equal to true, right? So as long as the conversation is still going, we'll go ahead and set our two fields, so our speaker and our text. So UI toolkit handler dot set speaker text, speaker name text, parlay YAML dot current node dot speaker, right? This gets our speaker on our current node from parlay YAML and sets it using our UI toolkit handler that comes prepackaged with Parlay. So for the second node, for example, it would say Ahmed. For the third node, it would say Jimmy. You got the idea. Then UI toolkit handler dot set dialog text parlay YAML dot current node dot text. Right? And now here's why we made the function async. We will await the parlay YAML dot on next dialog event that I talked about before. This is what you use with your input action. And then finally, we do parlay YAML equals null, right? We set parlay YAML, the instance that we had, to null and let the garbage collector handle it. And then we just call our function right here. And that is pretty much all you need to do. You just need to now drag this script onto your UI document and go into our UI toolkit folder again and drag the UI toolkit handler onto your UI document and then just set the references and you are done. Hit play and watch the magic happen. Welcome to my channel, you beautiful people. We have a variety of courses, assets, and games. And Jimmy. And that is all for this first demo. You can continue with other demos on the documentation website. You can see we have plenty over here. And you can reference them for much more detail. There you go. For much more detail on everything. And you can join the Discord server for help. You can ask me for help directly on there. And you can showcase anything you made with Parlay on the showcase channel on the Discord server. I would love to see anything you make with this. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope you get as much use as you can from this beautiful asset. You can now commission me to build custom systems, mechanics, and games for you. Head to codeflowstudios.com, create an account, place an order with your details, and suggest a price. I'll either accept your order or reach out through the site's chat to work out specifics.